The Wounds of the Dead is set in a clinic in rural Maharashtra, where a surgeon is working desperately unhappy with his condition and in terrible difficulty because of government bureaucracy preventing resources and medication from reaching the clinic. And in this situation, he's visited one night by a young man, his pregnant wife, and their 8-year-old son, who tell him that they have been murdered, but that they need him to stitch up their wounds so they can return to life at dawn. When I came up with the idea of this book, it became immediately clear to me that it could not be set in the urban settings that I was accustomed to, because the existential gravity of the story, if it was to have any impact, required an isolated setting that was both physically but also psychologically isolating for the surgeon. And so I decided to set it in a rural setting, and in order to do that, I drew upon an experience that I had had during my medical schooling in Mumbai. I had done a rural health rotation where I spent about 3 weeks in the village, and it gave me a glimpse, just a glimpse of what it's like to attend to patients in a clinic where you might be incredibly deprived of resources and really not equipped to deal with some of the problems that the patients are bringing in to you. The list of my literary inspirations would be a very long one indeed. Specifically for this book, influences that I can identify would be Dostoevsky, Kafka, José Saramago, and Albert Camus. Actually, both José Saramago and Albert Camus have novels, Camus' The Plague and Saramago's Blindness, where the key moral actor in the story is a doctor trying to deal with either a plague in one case or a plague of infectious blindness in the other case. And so the moral entanglements of the physician is an idea that really impressed me and drew me into the stories. For me, I look at my scientific and my medical work and my writing both as processes of discovery. In science, of course, we're trying to understand the outside world, understand ourselves. I work on leukemia, so I study how normal blood cells develop and how normal blood cells turn leukemic under certain conditions. But in writing, you're also embarking on a process of discovery. The writer is, because a writer begins with a setting, a premise, characters, and certain conceptual ideas, and then it's up to him to try to discover what those characters will do in those settings, how the ideas presented in the book will evolve with time. And I myself have sometimes been surprised at the ideas that will come to me during the writing in ways that even I cannot explain.